Hello, distinguished audience. You are welcome to Dash Press Media, and we have a special guest. So, can you introduce yourself? Already they know you, but still introduce yourself.
All right, my name is Ezekiel, bro. Yeah.
All right, and today we'll be talking about Nigeria is no longer bleeding. We are now moving to prosperity. It is said by our president, Bola Tinubu. So he said, President Bola Tinubu said that his administration has in the last 12 months stopped the bleeding experience across the country. Tinubu said this while receiving a delegation of the Yoruba Leaders of Thought at the State House on Friday, May 24, emphasized that governance must be transformative and address citizen critical needs. A statement released by the President's Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Ajuri Ige Ali, read, "It has been challenging, it has been fulfilling as well. We took over and we stopped the bleeding. I can say categorically, now that Nigeria is no longer bleeding and it will not bleed to death, but rather we now move to prosperity. That is the promise that I made to you all, and it is also the charge that you gave to me. We are managing to swim."
All right. We are managing to swim through the pond. The current is not a good one. And, okay. We are managing to swim through the pond. The current is not a good one. We will turn the tide. We are turning the bend. This, I assure you, I am being very careful. The worst is over for Nigeria. We will prevail. I thank the team who have been working really hard. And all I can promise is that we will do whatever it takes. We are determined, and we will work so that all Nigerians can feel the impact of good governance. The president assured Nigerians that the administration will ensure that they get value for every kobo spent, and that his government will leave a lasting legacy of prosperity to future generations while removing the yoke of poor governance and expanding access to qualitative public goods. He said, "We will get value for our money, and it is not for ourselves, but for our children. Our children will not inherit the burden of bad governance, yet they will enjoy the prosperity of Nigeria as a blessed nation from our very hands. From our sweat, we will bequeath to them a nation full of pride and prosperity." President Tinubu also called for the deepening of governance and the reinforcement of leadership across all levels of government and institutions, adding that his administration is committed to encouraging fiscal federalism and strengthening the system to enhance inclusions and equity for all Nigerians. He said healthcare upgradation is ongoing, road rehabilitation and construction is ongoing, education development is ongoing. I am charging you to look at what is going on in the state. Pay attention to your state governors, tell them to take their responsibilities seriously and make the people focus of their development plans. Once there is a synergy, then I can assure you that the Nigeria will be one of the best nations that you will see anywhere on earth.
Okay, so what's your perspective to what has been said? Do you basically think that Nigeria is no longer bleeding?
It's no longer what?
Bleeding.
It's a serious question. Personally, I can say that most of the people, citizens of Nigerians are not quite happy because of the governance. I can't say most it benefits and most it doesn't. And that people that it doesn't benefit at all are like masses. Like their population is overwhelming, and because of that, they don't speak well about the governance. And just with the speech the president said about we citizens urging our governors in various states to do well. I don't know how we can possibly do that. To some extent, we may have somehow understand it to be like protesting. But I don't know as an individual how I can come up with the idea of encouraging the governor to do well. How can I even send this personal message to him, knowing fully well he has his own agenda, which somehow might not be of benefit to me or to anybody in the state. You understand? So I really don't know how we can do that as individuals or even collectively. But anyhow, things are very difficult in the country. No matter how they strive, we can't feel the impact of their hard work. If they say they're actually hardworking, we can't feel it. But anyway, we individuals and average people in the country, we are all looking forward for opportunities and ways on how we can survive and not depend on what the presidency says that they are going to do, what they are not going to do.
All right. Thank you so much for this wonderful contribution. I personally would say Nigeria is bleeding, and I strongly believe that a lot of people can agree with me that Nigeria is bleeding. If the president is saying Nigeria is not bleeding, it's because he hasn't been to some parts of Nigeria to understand that people are suffering. We know that the minimum wage of federal government is still 33,000 naira. And looking at the inflation going on in the country, what can 33,000 naira do to a father or a husband that has many children? Or what can 33,000 naira do to a single lady or a single guy? I would like the president to reconsider most of his statements instead of being positive, trying to implement more on making sure Nigeria stop bleeding. If we look at the high population of suicide, it's coming from the youth. Yesterday, I was reading a tweet on social media and a guy was on the verge of committing suicide. He has almost given up. and many of them even use this Third Milan Bridge as an avenue for their suicide display. And I can tell you for a fact that Nigeria needs to stop bleeding, and the only way it can is when we come together in unity to fight for good governance. Not just that, in our neighborhood, we should try as much as possible to stop cheating our fellow brothers and sisters. When you know that the prices aren't supposed to be high, especially for foods and other things, please try as much as possible to be considerate. That would go a long way, because right now, before people were managing 2 square meals, now people are managing 1 square meal. It's terrible. It's affecting everybody, both the poor, both the rich, both the average. We're getting to a point where even education, right now, graduates are graduating every day. They don't even have a source of avenue of whatness. So I believe that things can get better as long as the government take action in doing something good. So that is it on my opinion. Let us know what your opinion is, and we'll see you guys in another session. Bye.